Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Zone to Speak podcast. I'm your host, Juliana. Before the episode, I have got to share one of my absolute favorite ride essentials, the Cyc Plus Smart Pump. This little thing goes everywhere with me. It's compact, powerful, and honestly a game changer on the bike. I love using it mid-ride when switching between terrains. I can drop the pressure for gravel and then pump it back up when I hit the road. Super easy, super fast. And of course, it's a total lifesaver in case of a flat or any loss of air. No stress, no hand pumping. Just press the button and go. You can grab yours with 10% off using my code ZONE2SPEAK. Link and details are in the episode notes. Trust me, once you try it, you won't leave for a ride without it. Cyc Plus Smart Pump. Smart, simple, and ready for any adventure. Now, let's hear it for the episode. All right. Today on Zone to Speak, I am talking about gravel racing, but also about not taking cycling too seriously, because my guest today somehow manages to balance both worlds, racing at the highest level while also co-hosting one of the funniest podcasts in cycling. My guest is Danni Shrosbree, professional gravel racer and co-host of Bonk Babes Podcast, where cycling conversations feel a lot more like chaotic post-ride coffee chats. And honestly, I think that's why people connect with her, because cycling can sometimes become so performance-focused that everyone forgets bikes are supposed to be fun. So today we are talking about racing, gravel culture, social media, podcasting, and the weird things cyclists normalize. Let's get into it. Danni, welcome to Zone to Speak.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. I've been following you. I've seen you in Girona a few times. I used to live there. I moved out. I might be moving back in.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited to go back. The cycling there doesn't compare really to anywhere else. So
yeah, it's a special little hub there. It's very cool. Yeah. But I think it's like I'm in Boulder right now, and I'm like, this place is a special little hub. It's like when you live in an area, you never really appreciate it until you're away from it, and then you're like, wow, we do actually live in a cool place.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I've been going through this. Once I moved out, I've been thinking like, oh my God, yeah, I need to go back, because you think like, oh, I can just just jump on my bike and ride anywhere. Yeah. But it is special. Yeah,
for sure.
A lot of people enter gravel after road cycling burnout or wanting something different from traditional racing. What originally pulled you into gravel, and when did you realize, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this?
Yeah, it was actually during COVID, to be honest with you. I mean, I was racing on the road for a few years, but you know, it was like during COVID, I got made furlough from my job. So I guess that was the first time I got to experience full-time professional life. I was like, all I've got to do is ride my bike all day. But during COVID in the UK, you weren't like, the drivers on the road for some reason really hated the cyclists more than ever. And to be honest, I was just like a bit fed up with it. And my dad had a gravel bike, and he was like talking about gravel so much. And I was like, oh, what is this? What is this gravel stuff? But I mean, I did a bit of mountain biking when I was a kid, but like, yeah, the road scene kind of just took over for me. So I just took his bike out one day and went into the New Forest, which is in the UK, a very, very special part. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with getting lost, finding new trails, not having cars around me. And then I just started integrating it into my program once a week, twice a week, just to mix it up. And then it wasn't until like, that's when gravel started. It was a big thing in the US, but in Europe, there really wasn't much. And then they started doing gravel nationals, which I look back now, and the gravel course, I mean, they've made it so much better now, but we were just riding around grass fields, and it was like a crit circuit, if you like. It was crazy. And then I was like, oh, there must be some more of this scene like around Europe. And that's where the first major gravel race I did, I guess, was Rancho, which is hosted by the Class Smart team, which run the tracker.
Yeah.
And I remember I booked it 3 days before the event. I just entered and booked a last minute flight, flew out, had 38mm tires on, had no idea what I was doing. And those that have done Rancho know that the course is actually pretty chunky. So I did that, and Ella Harris was there, and she was on Canyon SRAM at the time. And we were both a bit clueless to gravel. She had tubes in, but we were in a break together off the front. And then I punctured. And this story still baffles me. I managed to snap my valve core whilst trying to fix my puncture. But then somehow the sealant sealed after I gassed it, sealed over. So I had a rock hard tire. Yeah, I think I still managed to ride back to second place, but I finished the ride with no valve core. I think that's a miracle.
It is. It was meant to be. Wow.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that before. So
yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. And then from there, that's when I started looking into like someone mentioned the US have like a way bigger scene. So I entered the Lifetime series, never in a million years thinking I'd get in, because at the time there wasn't really many European athletes entering, to be honest. And I remember it was like mandatory to fill in this form. Which USA race had you done? So I just clicked Unbound and then wrote in the comments, by the way, I've never done Unbound. I just didn't know what else to put. And then I got into the series, and then I was like, okay, I've got a full-time job in London. I'm on I ride on the road for a continental team. And now I've got to try and do this US series. So I was so clueless. Second time on a mountain bike was the Sea Otter race ever. And then that's when I got my result at Unbound, and I was like, wow, this is a pretty cool thing. But that year was so hard for me. I had to miss races because of work and things. So it definitely wasn't the series year for me, but it opened my eyes to, what I do now, I guess.
Yeah. And then after that year, which just seemed so intense with full-time job, continental road racing, plus, getting on the series.
Yeah.
How did you transition from that to full-time gravel pro living in Girona?
Yeah, well, it was kind of, do you know what? It was one of those times where I was just being real with like, in London, it's a great cycling scene, but when you're trying to race gravel to a high level, you're never going to learn the skills as everyone else if they're living in these countries where every day they're graveling or doing it full time. And I was, after my result at Unbound, I started reaching out to more sponsors. And I was like, wow, if I want to do this properly, I kind of just need to risk it. And actually, when things seem to happen for a reason, there was redundancies at my work. My flat in London, like literally, like in the next week, they were like, you need to get out. We're selling the property. It all happened at once. And I was like, my parents were like, oh, Dan, if you don't do it now, you never know what you're going to do. And it's a huge risk, because I went from having regular income, like knew where I was living, to suddenly don't know when my salary is going to be next. And, I'll just move to Spain overnight. So literally did that. Literally packed up all my stuff, rented a room from my friend Sophie Wright, who actually also now does the gravel. And just was like, I'll figure it out. I've kind of always had that personality. I'm like, worst case, I apply for another job in London if it really does go bad. And I'm not going to lie, that first year was rough. I was like promised income that never happened. So I was very much living on my savings. And it was a huge, huge risk to do. But I look back now and I wouldn't be where I was now if I didn't take that risk. And sometimes you do have to just do that in life. That second year in the gravel scene, I was with Felt, and it was a bit of a bumpy ride, but I just kept trying to get results and proving myself. I guess that was where you just got to stick at these things. That's what I say. Yeah,
I mean, it's very, very brave, to get out of the comfort zone of having your place, having your steady income, like you said, and just go for the unknown. But without the leap of faith, you don't evolve. And look at where you are now. You definitely proved yourself, and it seems like you're living a happy, healthy life.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's still chaotic. I mean, everyone, this is what I always say to everyone is that's why I try and keep my Instagram and stuff a bit real, because it's like, I know a lot of our lives look glamorous, but it also comes with a lot of crap that people don't always talk about. But that's why I'm very open to like the community stuff and trying to help younger people come up, because I know how tough it is. And I know there's a lot of talented people out there. So yeah, I try to help where I can.
Amazing. Paying forward in a way and, inspiring others just with your story, that you have to take the leap of faith. But of course, it's also important to have a little bit of savings, because the crap that you're mentioning, I guess it's also related to not getting paid and losing contract or something, running after sponsors. That's the glamorous side of it.
Yeah. And I think my biggest advice to people is like coming into the sport is, I think it's like anything. When you go into a new job, you need to prove to your sponsors what you can do. And whether that's, if you're just new into the racing scene, like offer what else you can offer, like help with activations, help with rides. Because I think so many people think that they can just come in from another scene and then just be given a load of money. And it's like, you do have to also work your way up and be a bit of a grafter. I like that, I like working with brands and doing all these activations. It can be fun. It's exhausting, but it's the life I chose.
Yeah, well, if you enjoy, that's what is important.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned your social media presence, and I know obviously you race professionally, but sometimes the online presence, I don't know if there's any like pressure to act more serious as an athlete or not. I mean, I love the content because it's nice to see unfiltered compared to a lot of polished cycling content.
Yeah, totally. Do you know what? It's funny because I think a lot of people sometimes will look at my Instagram and be like, she doesn't take it serious. And that's why I try to prove the opposite. It's like, no, do you know what? I can get top 10 in Unbound. And just because I've done a silly reel where I'm dancing, that doesn't impact my performance. That doesn't impact my training. Like, that is my personality, and I will carry on being silly, doing voiceovers and everything, because that's my personality. And there's this triathlete, Chelsea, who actually, she's coming on our podcast next week, and she put a really good quote yesterday about, actually, because she's like a new mom and a daughter and everything, and she's like, her daughter has made her realize that like she can still have fun and be serious in her work. And I think it's just a really important thing that everyone needs to know, that because I laugh and have fun, it doesn't mean I'm not doing the same amount of hours as every other girl or guy out there. And I just think it's sad that people feel like they can't be themselves and that sponsors might look at them in a different way. Like, I actually think sponsors appreciate you being more yourself. And for me, I think, and also it's a personal thing. For me, I think I've always been used to, previously in my sporting career, juggling jobs, juggling life balance, and like to be a full-time athlete now is obviously incredible, but I want to keep it fun, because if I'm constantly thinking about numbers, thinking about should I be doing this, should I be doing that, I'll probably be worse than what I'm doing, to be totally honest. It's just the way some people are. But then some people might prefer, it's all a personal preference, like having a set thing and being very, I don't know, rigid and not showing their personalities on social media, which is totally fine. It's just who I am, and I won't change for anyone, I guess.
Please don't. Please don't. Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's nothing wrong with either, but it is wrong. Well, I don't know if I should say if it's wrong, but if you want to be funny and silly, don't mask that just because you're afraid. I think I am amateur, obviously, and I have brands that support me, and I want brands that support me without any pressure of results or posts or reels, because I'm not a marketer. So I think it would be the same for a pro. Like, be yourself, like work with brands that support who you are. If not, then
totally.
I think at some point it won't be fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, I'm grateful for the the brands I do work with. Like Rafa, I come on board with this year, and honestly, they've been incredible. They're everything like I love. Like they know that I care about my racing, and that I do really, every start line I get to, I care about that result. And I think the brands I work with know that. But then at the same time, they know that also when we're doing a photo shoot, when we're doing a training camp, like we'll have a laugh. Like me, Cam Jones and Ian Boswell were doing like silly reels when we were out in Australia and stuff. Like, but we all still wanted to race hard and stuff. And I just think it's really important. And I think it's really important for the younger generation looking. Like, I know Keegan's even said this, that he gets younger boys messaging him like, I'm doing the same hours of training as you. And it's not a good thing. Like, we want to inspire the next generation, but not put them in a place that's going to ruin them before they're 20 years old. And that's my biggest message to youngsters coming up is, like, when parents ask me like advice for kids they're training, I say, as long as they're having fun, they're going to do well. So you've just got to keep it fun for them. And I guess that's what my parents were always like. Like, I come from my dad was a professional athlete, and growing up, me and my brother always had this, well, you're Danni Shrosbree's son and daughter. We always had this pressure, but my parents were very good at being like, yeah, but if you're not having fun, you don't have to do that path that your dad did.
Amazing.
And I think it's super important for youngsters to like hear that message and follow their own dreams and keep it fun with their friends.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Sure.
Very well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same in any type of job, right? If you're an athlete, if you're in finance, like there has to be some aspect of fun and being yourself so you enjoy and keep going.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm a big advocate for that, because life is short at the end of the day, and it shouldn't be, you shouldn't have to suffer like or be miserable. So yeah, keep it fun.
Let's talk Bonk Babes.
Bonk.
I love
we have
the name.
fun.
When I saw it, I was just like, oh my God, why didn't I think about that? I mean, I love Zone 2, but Bonk Babes is so cool. And it's so much fun. It's not overly polished. How did the podcast start? I know it's a sister podcast.
Yes.
And how did you expect people to connect with it the way it has been?
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about this a bit yesterday. Like, we're still shocked when people go, oh, it's the Bonk Babes, because it's full credit to Grace. She's the one that made this happen. Grace edits the Bonk Bros social media, and I'm good friends with Dylan Johnson. And there was just one day, literally actually at Unbound last year, I was pretty low because I wasn't able to race last year. And I'll never forget, Grace just came running across to me at the street and she was like, Danni, let's start a sister podcast. And I was, and you're like, oh yeah. But you're like, is that going to happen? And like within, like, honestly, a few weeks later, we had mics, and Esma is Grace's good friend from college, and she's in the crit scene. And we were like, it would just be a cool balance, of me doing it the pro side, and then Grace digging into the pro side, doing the amateur side, working in the industry, and then Esma obviously doing totally different discipline. We get an aspect of all of it. And then we just made it happen. And one thing we've always said is we just want to keep it fun. We're going to talk about, I don't know, key events that have happened at the weekend, but then also just have relatable chats to girls and guys. We want to get as many female guests on just to push the female scene in all areas of the sport. But also then just like, talk about everything and have a laugh. And we definitely take the mick out of each other. Like Grace, I think I get picked on the most because I've got a British accent, but it works.
It's really fun. It's really fun. There are still a lot of things in women's cycling people are starting to talk about, right? We didn't openly talk about, we're starting to talk about the pressure, body image. Do you think podcasts and social media are helping make those conversations more honest?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think it's a really good thing to see. And do you know what? Advocates like Demi Vollering, I think, is one of the most incredible female athletes out there. She's a huge advocate for body image and eating and being strong.
Yes.
I mean, it like I've definitely been in that area in the road scene. And to be honest, even in my rowing days, like we used to get weighed every week. and our power to weight scores used to get written on the whiteboard. So a lot of females in the sport have been brought up in this world where it's constantly spoken about power to weight. But now there's people like Demi, and I mean, so many female advocates out there that are talking and being like, no, you need to eat more to be stronger. And don't get me wrong, Demi is so lean, but she's strong looking, and she can climb phenomenally. And I think she is the best representation for any females looking to get into cycling. It's just like, no, you need to fuel your engine to be stronger. So yeah, and I do just think the more we talk about it, the more we feed it down to the youngsters, the healthier the sport will become. Because I think even in the male scene, you're seeing it, like Jonas Vingegaard and Tadej, you look at their image versus 4 years ago, they're stronger looking now, whereas before they just looked unhealthy. So I think across both men and women, it's really good to see that more people are talking about it. And we've had guests come on and talking about Reds. Reds is a huge problem in the cycling scene. And we had Cécile Lejeune on the Bonk Babes, who spoke quite openly, and she's really open to people reaching out to her. And I've definitely gone through it all myself. So I think the more we talk about staying healthy, eating more, being stronger, the better the scene becomes.
Yeah, it's super important to continue this conversation because it is starting to change, but we still have long ways to go, because I think there's still this pressure of not just for the pros, but even for amateurs, like, oh, you cycle, but you don't have a cyclist body. It's like, what is a cyclist body?
Totally. And I think the biggest thing I will say is all the athletes that you see that have gone skinny, they've also then had a really bad year where people might get away with it for a few months or maybe a year, but then like the body does suffer eventually. And then you've seen so many pros that have had to have a year out to get their bodies healthy. But I know that in the World Tour that the nutritionists are so much better, and even EF are an amazing team at talking about, like, they celebrate when their riders get their periods back and things like that. And I think that's such an incredible image for the scene and something that needs to be spoken about more.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point, because on the male side, obviously they don't have periods, they can lose weight, but with us, it's just so much more apparent that there's something really not working. If you stop getting your period, it means that you're not healthy. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's great to see EF doing that, and hopefully other teams will follow.
Yeah.
Sure. On Instagram, gravel can look like perfect sunsets and aesthetic coffee, right?
Yeah.
What's the reality behind racing that people don't see enough?
Yeah. I mean, even like now, my privateer life, I genuinely think people think I get way more support than I actually do. Like, don't get me wrong. My progression of support I've got over the last few years has got better. But the reality is, honestly, if my partner's job didn't work in well with what I'm doing, I'd still be running around trying to get people to help me feed and things like that. So gravel, I guess you've got the specialized team, and now the Canyon ATR, they are very much team where they have people cleaning their bikes before the race and everything. But like the day before Unbound, I was cleaning my own bike for an hour before the race. Like, it's still very much you're doing a lot yourself. And I guess even for the team though, like Specialized in Canyon, if they puncture out there, they're not getting a team car. They still have to fix their problems themselves. And it was actually it's been really nice having Roman Bardet on Rafa, because he's just like, when on the Rafa training camp, he's like, Danny, I've never plugged a tire. Like, how do you plug a tire? Like, there's so much to learn in gravel, and mechanical things that, like, you just have to figure out yourself. Because if it goes wrong in a race, the reality is you are still on your own. And yeah, there's so much to gravel. The privateer life, especially, you're on your own with a lot of stuff, and like logistics. Like, I book every flight, plan every hotel, work out where I'm going to stay. Yeah, you're it is a full-time job on the admin side of it, honestly. So I know I'm staying in these amazing places and everything, but I'm figuring it all out as I go myself. And a lot of athletes out there are doing that still. So I guess if you're new coming into it, like it probably will be a bit of a shock how much you have to figure out yourself. But then that, I guess that's just part of it. And people are saying, will it go full team? Maybe eventually. I couldn't say right now. Like you're slowly starting to see it pop up, but it's a bit like the road team. For these teams, they need huge budgets because getting to these gravel races and the cost of these gravel races are obscene. So for a team, they need that huge budget. And obviously Canyon and Specialized are able to make that work. So I guess that's what would be dependent on whether the team side grow or not. But right now, I mean, me and Rosa Closer, we talk about the privateer life. There is definitely pros and cons to it. And the pro side is you can choose your own calendar and be where you want to be. But then you have to figure out a lot yourself.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's nice to kind of be free in that way, to choose where you want to be, what you want to race. But yeah, you do have all that other admin stuff that you have to take care of it. And obviously always be on top of it with the sponsors you have.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, sure.
Tell me a little bit about life in Girona. And is it, as most people imagine, with the cycling obsessed vibe? Does it live up to its
expectations? Yeah.
Expectations, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love Girona. I genuinely think it's got the best mix of everything. It is a bit like here at Boulder, Colorado. Boulder, Colorado is obviously just on a grander scale, but in Girona, you have the mountain bike trails, you have the gravel trails, you have the incredible road riding. You have kind of got it all on your doorstep. I'd say I personally, it's quite funny in Girona. You have the old town, which is where a lot of people live. And then you've got Newtown, which is like 5-minute walk. And we decided to live in Newtown because as amazing as Girona is, it sometimes can be overwhelming when you're seeing the same people every day and everyone feels the same. They're like, and sometimes you just want to walk through town on your own and just not in a rude way, but just not talk to anyone. Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. Yes. And as if sometimes it can feel overwhelming. So we've moved out to Newtown, which is, like I say, 5-minute walk. And everyone's like, oh, you live outside in Newtown? But more and more cyclists are realizing it's actually nicer just to get out of Old Town a bit, just to, just be a bit out. But then there's also the pros that every day you could go and ride with a friend and you could, go do some hard sessions with friends and motivate each other. And, most of the girls there, like I race against, so it's nice just to go and, I suppose, like we always say, we're like frenemies. We're like friends and everything when we're in Girona and training together. And then at the start line, it's like, okay, we're in our lane now and we're focusing on ourselves. But it's definitely a nice balance. In all honesty, like I wish I could spend more time there. I'm just forever on the road. I do love, although I laugh, I did a full not off season, basically winter training there last year. And it was the first year I decided not to go back to my family in the UK and stay out in Girona. And then Girona weather was worse than the UK, and UK had like a sunny Christmas. And I was like, well, I played that card wrong. Wintertime in Girona is pretty nice. It's like less tourists and everyone's just up for long rides and it can be pretty fun.
Yeah, I totally relate. And I'm glad to hear it because I thought I was the only one. I used to live in Old Town. And now that I'm going back, I'm looking at places outside because it can be overwhelming. Like every time get out, it's a lot of people that and most days it's fine, but sometimes you just want to take the dog for a walk and
totally
comb your hair and it's also all the tourists.
Yeah, exactly.
Glad I'm not the only one. Okay.
But it is a beautiful place.
It is. Yeah. So we already touched on this a little bit, but the higher cycling goes professionally, the easier it is to lose the joy most of the times. How do you protect the fun side of riding while you're still competing seriously?
Yeah. Do you know what? It is funny because I had a really tough start to the year, actually. I mean, at the La Santa Vi, I was doing well. And then I was like racing on a bike that was the wrong size for me. And it was causing me loads of back problems. And I just had loads of logistical issues going on with like trying to get bikes in time before races and things like that. And it does cause huge stress. And there was definitely a point where it's like, we do sacrifice so much. Like for Unbound, I ended up missing a friend's wedding, and I've got a nephew that I barely see. So it's definitely like I'm not going to sit here and say I've never struggled with it, because I for sure have. And this year was a big part of it. But it's honestly, for me, doing things like the podcast every week and doing my YouTube videos and keeping it real is what kind of keeps me going. And I do also say to myself is I chose this, I chose to leave London. I chose to leave that job.
Yes.
I'm not sitting behind a desk every day anymore, which was what my goal was. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be behind a screen all day, and I'm going to make it happen. So, I mean, my boyfriend even says it to me. He goes, Danni, you tell everyone else to keep it fun and stuff. And then you're right now, you're finding it miserable and everything. And I was like, do you know what? You're so right. But I think it's accepting that you might have a week where you feel like that. But then I have a little book that I write in. And sometimes when I'm struggling, I'll write my thoughts down and then look back on what I used to do and be like, well, you know what? You can quit it all tomorrow. You can stop. But then in 10 years' time, you're going to look back and be like, whoa, why did I stop doing that? Why didn't I just push through that time? Because like the reality is this won't be a forever job, I mean, I would love to stay in the cycling scene, but like there's just a reality. We all do get older, and it gets to a point where it does stop. So I think they're the moments that I have to sit back and remind myself. And that's why I do think it's healthy to have another hobby alongside, like whether it's, I don't know, it doesn't even have to be podcasting or YouTube. It can be anything. Like people like hiking. I love surfing. I know that after Steamboat, my next race, I go home to my family and I'm going surfing with my dad. Like we've already booked it in because I'm just like, that would be my reset before I then go back into my job. So I think it's when you're struggling, just put a date in your diary that's something different away from the bike that can like reset you. For sure.
Yeah, it looks like you have a good recipe and it's working. I see it, all the balance and everything that you're working on. I mean, the journaling and reading back and reminding yourself that you chose this life, and also you won't last forever, and then balancing whenever you can other things outside the bike and family time. So
totally, because they are just as important. And I think having that balance will honestly make you a faster rider, because at the end of the day, if you've got a happy head, you're probably going to be stronger than if you've got negative thoughts constantly.
Yeah 100%. Absolutely makes total sense. The mind can make you or break you, and if it's not a health place in there, then it will break you eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Speaking of breaking eventually, your podcast is literally called Bonk Babes. Is there any spectacular bonk you have ever experienced that you can share?
Oh, yeah, a few times. One big one was actually, I did the Badlands ultra race with my boyfriend as a pair, actually, and that is a 850k race. And we did it over 2 days. We had 10 minutes sleep in total. But it was like over 40 degrees for those in the US. That's like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. And we like, there was times of the night where it was so hot you didn't want to eat. And yeah, me and my partner bonked so bad. But then I was just like, if we're going to complete this race, we do just need to keep eating. But I remember there were some very dark moments in that. I mean, I've had many moments where I've got it wrong on bonked in training, where you think you've taken enough food and then the route's hillier than you think. Like even honestly, last week out here in Boulder, I did this epic ride, and because there was a stonking headwind, it took so much longer than I thought. And I was definitely close to bonking. So we even still get it wrong now. But I mean, I look back when we raced the Tour of Britain as a team, incredible event. And I look back I remember stage 3, we were all suffering. But our team at the time we had a sponsor for nutrition, but it was like restricted. Therefore, we were restricted on what we were able to have in the race. And then I think we were probably doing 30 grams an hour, if that. And
wow.
And now, I mean, I'm bound, I was doing 120 grams an hour. So it's just the knowledge and the research that's been done. Like, I think every athlete in their early days have got it so wrong and bonked. So that's why, that's why the podcast is very relevant. Because I guarantee every cyclist has been there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Cyclists normalize things that sound completely insane to non-cyclists.
Yeah.
What's something in cycling culture that feels totally normal to riders, but objectively ridiculous? And I can give you an example, like paying 500 euros for something that will save you 100 grams on your bike.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know, I mean, we all say we're weight winners with our bikes, and for certain races, but I think I was actually saying it with Sarah Sturm the other day. I said, when I went home to my parents, I was like, oh, I'm just going to go and boil my chain. And my mum was like, sorry, what? And I was like stripping my chain to re-wax it. And the easiest way to get the old dirty wax off is just to boil the kettle and pour it in a pot. My mum was just like, because my mum's like, she's into cycling, doesn't really know that much about it. So she's just watching me boil a chain and then hot wax it. And she's just like, you cyclists are weird. I was like, we totally are. We totally are. I've got, and then the other thing is my tan lines are so bad. Like, everyone's seen my helmet strap line, and we just walk around town like it's normal, and I get such funny looks. But you just got to embrace it, you know? Be proud of those tan lines.
I don't mind my tan lines, which is funny because it was just going to be my next question. I have some fire chat round, if it's okay.
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
So the first one was, what's the worst cycling tan line? The helmet, the farmer's tan on your arm sleeves, or the shorts?
Well, I literally uploaded a photo yesterday. I've got really bad neck tan lines. You might even be able to see them here. They're like stripy tan line. Because I think it's when I get in an aero position, I always laugh. I'm like, I tuck my neck up maybe, and it creates these like lines of my neck.
That's hilarious. I never seen that before.
Oh, they are so bad. And I did a silly reel on them because it is so stupid. And even my friend yesterday, she was like walking behind me and she was like, Danni, your neck tan line is so bad. And I was like, when another cyclist is telling me how bad my tan lines are, like, it must be bad. So I think for some reason it's my neck.
Wow, that's a new one. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite pre-race snack or meal?
Oh, I've actually recently changed. I used to do a performance chef, like a rice pudding recipe, which is also great. Now I'm into my Rice Krispies. Good old kid
love
cereal.
Rice Krispies too.
Yeah.
Do you buy them or do you make them?
No, I buy them.
Favorite Girona coffee spot?
Oh, Orneria's pretty special. Or Idle Hands.
Idle Hands. Yeah.
They do good pancakes as well.
A bike color that instantly makes you faster.
Oh. Okay, I actually quite like stealth bikes with a pop. There's something quite cool about all stealth bikes. I'd actually say the whole ninja bike.
What's a song that belongs on every cycling playlist?
Oh, everyone will know. Basically, if you've done Tracker, Girona, like any class mark event, they do this. What is the song? Oh, I can't even think it.
Is that Imagine Dragons song?
Yes, I think it's that.
I think it is, yeah.
That is every race. And it's the most depressing song in the world when you're about to race.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm like, what again? Change it.
Yeah, it's quite funny. They've made it their thing now.
What? Yeah. What hurts more after races? Hands, back, or your soul?
Oh, I mean, after Unbound, it's probably your soul. But then after Tracker, it's probably your back because the descents are so rough.
Yeah. Oh, Danny, it's been so great to have you here. I think people connect with you so much because of your personality. Of course, we admire you for the athlete you are, but you are so relatable, and it's just so great that you share who you are in social media and in your podcast. And I really hope you continue to share this unpolished version and not intimidating version of yourself. And wishing you a wonderful season.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Really happy you made the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all for today's episode. I want to thank the listeners for tuning in. Your support means everything. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider following, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends.